All right, all right. Well, welcome to the Sacred Pathway Academy podcast with me, Allison Rozelle. And I am joined by a very special guest. And first of all, this is just a really special segment. This is a special bonus segment because this is your introductory to the Pillars of Sisterhood. And the Pillars of Sisterhood include myself and my lovely friend Danielle Desire. And some of you may remember Danielle because she has been on the podcast, I think twice. So now you get to hear from her as we talk about our combining forces into the Pillars of Sisterhood. So welcome, Danielle.
Well, thank you for having me today. I am so excited that we are embarking on this adventure together. This has
Yes,
been a long time in the making,
it has.
very long time in the making.
Yes, absolutely, it has. Wow, we've been talking about this for a while. We'll jump into the origin of all this in just a minute, but I want to give you the opportunity, Danielle, to just tell everyone a little bit about you. So take it away.
Oh my, what can I say? So a little bit about me. So I have been a healer, always have been for the last what year is it? 18 years. I've been a massage therapist, a licensed massage therapist. And then for the last 8 years, I've been a licensed acupuncturist. And then I also moonlight in my Clark Kent job as an IT project manager. So it's a very well-rounded uh, life, I guess. Actually, I should say no, it's not well-rounded. And that's the problem. And that's how I think our paths have crossed. And this is how it came into existence, is trying to get to that point of being well-rounded. So yeah.
Yeah. So also Danielle is she's also a wellness practitioner like myself, but she's a little more well versed on a lot of things than I am. But she has her company that she's building as well called
All paths to wellness, because
Yes.
there is no one true path. And that's something I truly believe as we have navigated our lives, right? There is no cookie cutter way to live your life, as we all know. And that also means, what does wellness look like to you? Because what one person deems, somebody can say, I just had this conversation with somebody that they're like, oh, for weight loss, it's all about portion control. And I was like, that's great that it's portion control for you. Me, with the way that I work, I need to eat and eat more. I am a bulk eater. I'm aware of this. So for me, it's all about the carb control. And that if I live in a more low carb lifestyle, and I do tons of hacks, as Allison is aware, that I'm like, oh, look at this. And I'm working on everything that I can that increases my protein, but it allows me to eat the fun stuff then, right? One of my favorite things that I'm doing, as an example, is a pudding that's made out of hard-boiled eggs. It's all protein. Protein and like hard-boiled eggs and coconut milk. And you're like, what? That sounds disgusting. But there is a keto coach out there who has created a lot of these recipes, and I turned on to her because she does it on a scientific approach. But I love it because I get to eat pudding. Who doesn't want to eat pudding? Who doesn't want to eat danishes? And there's people who don't. I shouldn't say who doesn't, because there's always somebody who's like, I don't want sweets. But me, I feel like dessert is the whole point of the meal. Right? So
Yes.
for me, desserts are part of my life. I enjoy food. It's a whole thing when I eat. It's not even like tonight, right now, I'm visiting my daughter, and we're eating at her restaurant. She is a pastry cook, and we are going to be able to sample quite a bit of the menu, but I am sure all of the pastry menu. Of course, I'm going to indulge because that is the whole point. It is a moment. Everybody knows me and food. It is a love affair. I take pictures. We celebrate. I do happy food dances. All these little things that bring joy to my life, and food is a part of it. So I do what works for me, which leads me back to, as I rambled on about that, all paths to wellness. Because for other people, they can say, yo, I'm not doing this. I don't do dessert. And they've got other things. Sometimes people are like, I could care less about food. And my thing is I want to sleep better, or I want to find a way to reduce my stress. There's so many different things. And so as a health practitioner, using the tools of massage and acupuncture and, a master's degree and a bachelor's degree, it's coming with that and building something specifically to help you find what your true path to wellness is. Because we all know as Black women how many times we've been dismissed, and that we are in a demographic where we are not treated well, and we are ignored with our pain, that when we come in and we say, hey, I got an issue, doctors blow us off. They use a different rubric as they design that they don't accommodate to what our genetics are. Absolutely. And so I help you take control of your life and make those changes so that you can advocate for yourself and design a life of wellness.
Yes, absolutely. And that is something that I think you and I have kind of like bonded on that for a while. And so let's kind of talk about the Pillars of Sisterhood, because the way that I'm remembering how we started, now Danielle, correct me on this if I slip, but so Danielle and I, we were a part of a group of women led by this wonderful Garifuna healer named Arzu Mountain Spirit. And we would have these really like awesome Sunday talks. And one day you and I think Arzu was also there. We were talking on Zoom, and we were talking about like retreats. And I think Arzu had brought up the whole thing about pillars. And as women need pillars in their life. And I think that's kind of how we got to that. Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, so I remember this, because I've had conversations with Arzu about pillars. We need pillars, right? Look at a foundation of a house. If you do not have a minimum, think of a table, you can have a tripod, right? You can have tripod legs, but you have to have a minimum of 3 pillars in order to have a stable self. Like, if it's a table, it's got to have the 3. You can't do it on 2. So do you have women in your life? And it doesn't necessarily have to be women, but it helps more as women, because I don't want to say that it's not about the men, but do you have 3 pillars supporting you the way you need to be supported? And that's when we started talking about, wow, it is hard. I could not list 3 pillars at that time. That I sat there and I was like, all right, I got you. There we go. And it's a lot of it, but then it also brought up those things. So why is that? Why do we not have those pillars? And we were talking about, some of it is we never grew up with sisters, or and this goes across the board, no one particular person, but you never had sisters, or say you had a dysfunctional family where, we spent a lot of time in our life, as we know, cutting other women down. That's what we've been taught. And so that's another reason we don't have those pillars, is that we have been in a competitive world. And if that's what we've been taught, you can't blame us, but at some point we got to fix it, right? We got to be a part of the solution. And that's how I think we got there the rest of the way. It was going, so how do we solve this? Because here we are in our 40s and we don't have pillars. We don't have sisters that we can call on and actually, those true friendships, not those like, oh yeah, girl, do it, do it, do it. And we know it's a bad thing, right?
Right.
It's the sisters who will say, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You a hot mess. How many times have you checked me as I'm like, and I'm having a meltdown, and you're like, bro, you just need to do this, and I'm like, no, and then a little bit later, yeah, you're right, because we want somebody to call us out. Like
Yeah.
as we grow up and we become wiser versions of ourselves, right? In our 20s, it's interesting because I do have my daughter is turning 23 tomorrow, and how I encourage her and we talk about real friendships. And like, when I say ride or die, we don't want somebody who's like, oh yeah, girl, go get drunk and do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because at 23, that is that hot mess express that we are all in at 23.
Oh yeah.
But who's going to be the one to check you? Who's going to be the one to say, girl, you in trouble. Like, I see it and I'm worried about you. I see that you are not fill in the blank. You're not happy.
Right.
You are headed towards a breakdown. And it's funny because I've watched since we've talked about this. I now, with anybody that I'm friends with, oh, you get the real deal. I will not lie. Where I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Stop. This is in your power, because how many times have we in our lives been the victim? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that we're just like,
Right.
this is happening to me. And we don't take that responsibility of going like, and don't get me wrong, we have things that actually happen to us, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's that, when are we going to take accountability for ourselves? Going like, yeah, so why do I keep doing XYZ? Why do I keep attracting deadbeats?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what am I putting out there that they're sniffing out and I cannot pick up anything else? What is it? Why am I blatantly ignoring red flags?
Yeah.
That, you can't say that, fool me once, shame on you. But when you've done it like 18 times, when are you going to say, because I was one of those women, when are you going to step back and say, whoo, yeah, that's on me now. I am the common denominator. So I try to be as honest as possible with my friends, and it has changed. I have richer relationships now.
Yeah. And that's really true. And that's when you think about a pillar is basically what's holding up whatever that is. So, when you have friendship, it's one thing for people to say, girl, I got your back, and come find out they really don't. But
Correct.
these are the people, when we talk about the pillars of sisterhood, we're talking about basically reaching back to those traditions of being the village, being the community. When you go and you look at, I remember I was watching a video, and I can't remember what culture it was, but apparently the young lady had just had a baby. And so the entire like family village of women were nurturing her, taking care of her. She didn't really have to do anything. They were cooking for her, cleaning for her. They were, keeping her, washed and like anointing her with all these beautiful oils and just really pampering her. Now, that might be extreme for some people, but when you think about um pillars of sisterhood, when you think about real sisterhood and women who really have your back, can I say that if I'm sick, like really, really sick, and I need help, I know for a fact that I could call Danielle right now and be like, girl, I have XYZ going on and I can't do this. Please help me. Danielle is on like the first plane to Atlanta to come and help me. And I know this for a fact. And she, I hope, knows same thing. I will be on the plane to Chicago and be like, girl, okay, so Tell me what's going on. What do I need to do? You just lay there, you chill. I'm gonna take care of. I'm gonna go grocery shopping. I'm gonna do this. Let me make sure I got this in order. Tell me everything that I need to know about how your household is run, so that way I can take care of it for you and you can get better.
Yeah.
Do you have someone in your life like that? And if you don't, then it's time for us to change that. And you said something interesting, Danielle. You start to wonder, is it you? Is it that you don't have those pillars because of you? Are you the common denominator that maybe you are repelling or rebelling against women being close to you, being friends with you because of that same thing that we're taught of competition? I can't trust another woman because she might try to take my man, and all this other nonsense that we're taught. So yeah, I can go on and on about that, but
I've been extremely distrustful. And it was only as my relationship developed with you and Arzu that I started realizing I can trust other women. And it wasn't necessarily about men. We can dissect because it's different for everybody. And I want everyone to understand that just because we're bringing up these specific examples doesn't mean that it is that specific reason that it's
Right.
your reason for it. There's so many different reasons why.
Yeah.
And I can say I grew up in a household where women, like my mom has sisters, she's not close with them. She's not friends with them.
Yeah.
Only in my relationship with my sister, I have three sisters. One who lives in Chicago, and then two in another state. And it is what it is in terms of family dynamic. But with the one who lives in Chicago, we were not close until recently. And so some of it is learning how to develop it and flex that muscle. But it also is recognizing your own vulnerability in that, that you've got to step through and say, I'm going to be vulnerable. And it may not work out, right? Because not everybody is going to be receptive.
Right.
But if you actually dip that toe in water and try to see, it comes back tenfold.
Yes.
It does. And so it's beautiful to look at these relationships that are unfolding. And that's what we want to do. We want to encourage, we want to find a community, right? If you look around, it's not about how many friends you have or how many, but it is in terms of the pillars. You do think of pillars and a building. That roof is going to collapse if it's not holding it up. You need to have that strong foundation, and that there are multiple pillars and not just one pillar, because you can't put that all on one person.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would get on a plane in a second. If you said, I need you to come, I would not even think twice. I'd be like, okay, give me time to find a flight. And enough time to put my stuff in a bag, whatever I need.
Yeah.
And let's go.
Yeah.
We're gonna get it done.
Right. And then too, it's also the understanding that as you are finding the pillars in your life, are you also a pillar for somebody? Are you also reciprocating that pillar behavior? Now it's going to look different for everyone. Everyone is different, right? But the thing is it's not looking for the perfection of the friend, because that's not going to happen. Nobody is perfect.
Right.
It's looking for I guess the love, the compassion, the ability to be vulnerable and to receive, and understanding that, can I sit and tell you like my deepest, darkest secret, and no, you're not gonna tell nobody. You're not gonna betray me with that. That I can I can just be myself. I can fake the funk with all these other people at work, and do what I got to do so I can, come home, take all my stuff off and then, get on the phone with someone who is my pillar. Can I just be myself? Can I have a moment where it's just having raw emotions, like, you know, being able to get on the phone with someone and ugly cry and they love you through it. They don't judge you. They don't put you down. They don't start loading you down with what you should do and all this other stuff. They are compassionate and listening to you and receiving and sending you so much love. Now some people might say, well, that's not realistic. Well, for some people it may not be, but this is kind of what I feel that is essential for a pillar, don't you?
Absolutely. I think about it as you were saying it, images like I want to have a pillar. It's like coming home from work and you want to, have a no pants party, take your bra off and just like let it all hang out. And you're just like, oh, this is who I really am in this moment. And I need to have a pillar who's like, girl, I'm with you. Let's do this. Whatever it is,
Hmm.
that it's like, all right, okay. I want it's that ebb and flow though, are you, like you said, are you being the pillar? It's
Yeah,
you want a two-way street.
absolutely.
Because sometimes we do have people who they love us and we love them, but they take more than they give.
Yes,
And that's something we all have to be careful of, right? We should find people um, that will give as much. That
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And what is interesting, because I know when you and I were talking about the different retreats and things that we want to do for the Pillars of Sisterhood, the whole premise of it is teaching women how to build those relationships, how to start within themselves and heal those things within themselves so they can be a better friend, can be a better sister, and have other women who are on a common journey, because that's also another thing. We could name a whole lot of stuff, but that's that's
Right.
that's huge.
It's
'Cause-
the big piece.
yeah, because like I can tell you, when I started my spiritual journey, every person that I thought was really my friend, everybody that I really considered my friend, just disappeared,
Yep.
wasn't to be found. And I'm like, okay, I'm over here like balled up in a corner, because you know how shadow work can get you like that.
Oh,
And I'm like balled up in a corner, like, oh, nobody, where is everybody? I don't have nobody.
it's true. Man, when I started embarking on this journey of healing that shadow work, healing myself, working, I mean, and that's never going to end, right? We all know it's a work
Yeah,
in
it's a
progress.
journey.
It's like,
It's a
oh, I thought this was done. Oh, no, no, no,
no.
no.
Uh-uh.
It's like 82 more layers of that to go before you think you might be done.
Yeah, right.
But I have lost so many friends, and it doesn't mean I don't love them. I
Yes.
still love them.
Hmm.
But when you turn, and it's not a like, I decided to go, it's up or down. It is, I turned left, they turned right, or they stayed straight. It doesn't,
Yeah.
it's just that we've peeled off, and you need those people because it's really hard. You don't want to be, and this is something else I thought of with Pillars of Sisterhood that we've talked about, is you don't always want to be the top dog in the chain with your friends in terms of who's as spiritually woke or
Yeah.
anything else anywhere in that self-help self-discovery journey, right? And I say self-help because you end up counseling them, and are they filling your cup? Going back to
Yes.
our original
Yes, talk about it.
episode. If you're not getting your cup filled and they're just taking from it, you need to have somebody. If you're always at the top and everybody's coming up, who is helping you then? You're not getting that help from them. Because they
Absolutely.
don't understand at what level. And don't get me wrong, they're all doing their thing, and it's not wrong where they're at. They're looking to you because they know that you're there. But
Right.
it's who gets to come to you and say, let me give you some medicine now.
Yes.
Let me give you medicine so you can receive.
Yes.
And oh, that's working. I like that. I'm gonna do that. And it refills that cup. And you suddenly can then give more to others, as we know.
Yes. Yes.
Because if you got it, I mean, think about it. It's like having 10 children and they all pulling on different parts of your jacket, your pants, your shoes, your hair tie, whatever you got going on. And that is draining. Even if it's meant with good intention, it is draining. So it's finding that on the same path, even if they're in different spots, right? But on that same path going, I am striving for that excellence. I am striving for whatever it is, because it's going to be different. We talk about it as spirituality because that's part of wellness, right? That we both view it that way. Some people, it may be power moves in the need mentors.
Yeah.
We can't always be the mentee, we need to be the mentee and not always the mentor.
Right.
So it's finding other women. So because we all have lessons to learn from each other, right? That's the other thing. With all this, it's that medicine. We all have medicine to give, even if we don't know exactly what that medicine is.
Yeah.
And it'll come through. I just had a conversation with somebody. I was like, oh, that's good medicine. You just gave really good medicine. And they stopped and I said, and it was a two-way street medicine. They gave you medicine because it healed that piece for you. And then at the same time, but you were able to give to them.
Yes.
And it was mind blown for that person. They were just like, wait, what? What do you mean by medicine? And then we got into the thing. I was like, oh yeah, we all got medicine to give.
Yeah, we do.
It's going, yeah, I want my sisters who have medicine for me, and then I have medicine for them. It's that both. Like, I'm excited to give that medicine. That
Exactly.
I know who to come talk to when I need Reiki, when I know something is funky. Even though I have my own knowledge in essential oils, I would rather bounce something off of you because you're going to give me some medicine that I didn't think about.
Yeah. It's hitting those spots where we might be blind. Too close to the problem, we're kind of looking at it still with like these blinders on. Correct. And that pillar can help you remove the blinders and say, see, it's a whole other amount of stuff that you should be thinking about right now.
Yeah.
But I love that you said that about medicine. And the medicine is not always when something bad is happening. Sometimes the medicine is celebrating each other, celebrating each other's accomplishments. I'll never forget Abiola. I remember a story she was sharing. The first time she made, I think it was like $10,000 or something off of a client, and she wanted to celebrate it, but she didn't have any friends that were on that level, and none of them would be able to celebrate her. And it would be kind of like, well, who does she think she is? So what if she made that? I'm still struggling. Why is she telling me this? So she held that to herself because she did not at that time have pillars. And you think about stuff like that. It's like, of course, you would hope that your friends would be happy for you. I'm here to tell you, I have people, again, like that when I first started my spiritual journey and I had things starting to happen, and, things are now starting to get a lot better in my business. Things are picking up and so on. And I'm so grateful for that. But those same people are not, it's like crickets. They're not there for the celebration. Now, on the other hand, I can call up Danielle. I can call up Mignon, and I'll be like, guess what? I just got this many people to sign up for my course. I'm so excited. And they would be like, yes, oh my God, that's so exciting. And we would be like jumping up and down on the phone with each other.
I'm like, I am so excited for you. I'm doing happy dances in my kitchen, wherever I am, going like, woo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the medicine right there as well.
Yeah, it's good medicine.
Mhm.
Everybody recognizes that, that it really, this person's mind was blown when I said, like, oh, what good medicine for both of you. You were able to be like a beacon for this person, and for them, that's what they needed in that moment. And you calmed them down and made them realize, like,
Mm,
oh, it's going to be okay. But at
yeah,
the same time, that gave you a piece, and it was like, and I forget that people don't always think like that,
they don't.
because we've been living in this space, right? But I know that when when Abiola said, here, why don't you two partner up? I was like, cool, cool, cool. Who is this woman? Who is Allison? And then
Yeah,
we started talking, and fast forward 3 years.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, three and a
yeah,
half years, almost 4 years, because it was the like January of 2018.
yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
that's pretty
it's
cool.
like, yeah, it everything's changed, and it's joy, and I just want everybody to have that.
Me too.
Right?
Me
I want
too.
everybody to have these juicy relationships.
Absolutely. 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 And that is why I wanted us to present this particular segment so we can give that explanation about the pillars of sisterhood and understanding that this is what you and I are wanting to do for women everywhere
Yeah.
is help them rebuild within themselves so that they can have new pillars if that's what they need, if they're looking for pillars. Or maybe, women bring, their friends and are like, you know what? We want to make sure that we're really being pillars for each other, and
Yeah.
we want to start, redoing some things and how we, communicate as friends. And that's why I wanted us to do this particular segment, because it's important for you to understand. And when I say you, not you, Danielle, but you that's
Yeah.
listening, that you can have those beautiful friendships. Now, does that mean that me and Danielle don't like disagree on stuff and be like, she might say something and I'm rolling my eyes and vice versa? We're human.
Right.
We're human. It doesn't mean we agree on everything. It doesn't mean that I'm like always like, yeah, girl, don't do that. No, sometimes I'm like, well, you might want to think about that for a little while before you just jump
Mm-hmm.
on in, you know. So that's the give and take of it. It's the Danielle is able to be human and I'm able to be human, but we connect on that level because we both understand neither one of us is perfect.
Right. And here's the thing, we did not meet in person. That's the other thing, right?
Yes,
We
talk
did
about it.
not meet in person until March 2020. The
Yeah.
weekend the world shut down
Right.
was the weekend we first met. We literally shut down the world.
Yes, we shut down the world.
Right.
The world shut down right after we met face to face for the very first time. That is
Yeah.
so funny.
And we're thousands of miles away from each other. And yet we've developed this amazing relationship. And
Yes.
that is what the beauty is that you don't have to say, oh, it has to be somebody that lives next door or down the street, whatever.
Right.
We connected as strangers and got to know each other and just kept showing up and having juicy conversations and going, and then, talking about pillars and saying, okay.
Yeah.
And it's developed into something really beautiful that I think a lot of people don't get that chance. I've
Mhm.
embarked on my own journey, just as Allison has, in terms of who do we become, right? We
Yeah.
both are empty nesters and figuring stuff out. And the biggest thing I've recognized is I can build whatever I want. I don't give a crap what anybody, right? We get to the age where all of a sudden we're like, wait, why? Why did I think this is a good idea?
Yeah.
Why am I listening to fill in the blank,
Right.
right? Just like, why? But instead I'm building and I'm like, I can do whatever I want. I can do, and so I am building these juicy relationships, and I challenge every one of you women out there
Yeah.
to build these juicy. And there's nothing wrong if you're not there. It's not a question of like you're less than or anything else. It's just
Exactly.
knowing how do you enhance your life? Because I know Allison enhances mine. I mean, I look at my pillars, and every single one enhances my life in a way that I did not know. I show up way different than I did a few years ago.
Same. Same.
Right.
And I feel that way about you as well. And that's another part before we close this out is, you know, your pillars, each of them may offer you very different things, but it's all going to be in alignment with who you are and where you're going in life. And so, I know for me, Danielle is a pillar for especially anything as far as like health, wellness. I'm I'm gonna bounce it off of her and be like, does this make sense when I hear someone say this about keto and what's the difference between keto and paleo? Because I don't know, I don't understand it. And not even just that, I know that I can sit and tell her anything under the sun, and not one time is she gonna judge me. Not one time is she gonna like be like, you are dumb as fuck. She is not gonna talk to me like that.
Nope.
She's gonna be like, okay, you might want to look at that a different way. She'll be very diplomatic about it, but that's what we need. Each one of our pillars are gonna offer different
Yeah.
things that we all need. And then we, in turn, are a pillar in each one of their lives. And what's interesting is, as a pillar myself, each one of my relationships, not like I have a whole lot, but each one, I even offer different things to you all, So
Correct. Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful part about it, is being able to be, this way with you, and then this way with this person, and this way with that person, and we all are giving each other energetically and spiritually and everything else what we need, having those pillars. I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it is. So Danielle, any final words before we part this podcast episode?
I just want to say I love you. I appreciate you. Everything you do, because Lord knows I will admit it. I have Allison over the years has called me out on stuff, and I am so grateful for it because even if I'm throwing a temper tantrum, I can be stubborn beyond belief. Because sometimes in a moment, I need to throw the temper tantrum. We all know this. Sometimes it's just like,
Yeah.
I know she's right. And I knew she was right. And I came back later. I was like, okay, you're right. You're right. You're right. Like, I understand. But it's one of those, I had to get to that space, but there's no, just, she's always held space for me, and that makes it a beautiful, beautiful relationship that we can do that and just be like, okay, you'll come around. I know this. And because we got to go, what is it like, all the steps for grieving? How many stages? The
uh,
seven.
I think it's like 7
I was
stages.
going to say 7 stages of grieving.
Yeah.
Same thing with whatever we're doing. 7 stages of anger. 7 stages. We're like, Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where we're going right now. Okay, cool. All right, what do we need to do?
Right.
What do you need? And, and that's the other thing, is that it's so funny. I'm now more comfortable asking. That's the other thing. I ask people off the bat. So one, like if I'm the one who is going to be listening, I ask, okay, so do you want me to listen? Do you want me to problem solve? Like, what do you need from me? Let's set this expectation right now,
Yeah.
because if you say, I need you to hold my hand and poor baby me, okay. But if you say, girl, be real, okay, those are two different things. And you ready for that? Because, so it's made me show up in a different way to say, before I open my mouth, let me ask, what are you looking for?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And
And that's
also,
something we all have to learn is,
yeah.
give that person the opportunity to tell you what they need in that moment. Go ahead with what you were saying.
And the other part that I've learned is I'm just gonna say it, don't shit on people. I know that we're all having bad days. We all have them. We all have things going on. But I remember that one time that I said to you, I was like, hey, I wanna talk about something, but it's dark and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in the space? And you said, talk to me. And I was like, but are you in the space to hear that? Because sometimes I just had this happen. I shut it down with one of my pillars, that she came at me and just started vomiting everything. And I finally had to, I cut her off and I said, like, I love you. I'm sorry, but I am in my own personal space right now that I have to deal with something else. I
Yeah.
cannot help you with this. And I
Yeah.
don't feel bad about it, because, and she didn't either. She was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll go talk to somebody else then. And I'm like, yeah, but it's learning, it's honoring those boundaries within ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
understanding how to communicate better, because those are things that we tend to not know. How do we
Right.
say, hey, I really need your help right now? Like, but this is dark and nasty, and sometimes you just have to say it. But
Yeah.
we don't, and the next thing we're vomiting something on somebody who's like, what? I don't, what am I supposed to do with this? Please ask me.
Please. Please.
Versa, just, like, and I get it. We are all, I'm totally, guilty of it, that I've done it where I've just vomited. But as we've developed these relationships and they're getting juicier and richer and we're having these pillars, I can recognize more. And so I think that's part of the benefit, is that we can all start recognizing, like, okay, yeah, I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Let
Absolutely.
me see what's up first. Let me talk to somebody before and say, hey, I need to talk about this. Do you have time?
Yeah.
Even if it's not dark and ugly, but like, I need to talk. Do you have
Yeah.
time? Instead of just calling somebody up and bleh. You're like, okay, I gotta go, because
Yeah.
it's not the time. So yeah, that's it. Those were my closing things, is that it's allowed, I say it'll make you more aware.
It
And
will.
it's really good, because then
Yeah.
you can honor that space, and your pillars will honor that space as well. If you say,
Yeah.
no, I'm not in that space to provide for you in this moment the way that you are wanting.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
Yeah. And then,
And it's just like,
that
okay,
respect. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That respect.
yeah.
Well, I will say that I love you back, and I love our relationship. I am so grateful that we were put together, but I always say that it definitely was not just a fluke. It was definitely divine.
Oh,
Definitely
absolutely.
divine that it happened the way that it did, and I'm very grateful for it. And I think this is going to be great. This segment with the Pillars of Sisterhood on this podcast is going to be so fabulous.
Yes, it
So
will.
We will be back again. These are going to be like bonus episodes on the podcast because we want to know, if y'all feeling us. So let us know. And so thank you so much for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for um, just being a pillar of this podcast. Yes. So I want you to think about something. Who are the pillars in your life? Do you recognize them? Are you a pillar? Just a little homework for you. Yeah, there's homework.
Always,
Always
always. You
homework.
always got homework. That's homework.
So thank you so much for listening to the Sacred Pathway Academy podcast with me, Allison Rozelle, and Danielle Desire, as we're doing the Pillars of Sisterhood. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we will talk to you all next time. Bye for now.
Bye.